It's that time again. Main Man T. Back for the Bro Code Podcast. Produced by Kennedy Lucas.
What's good, fam? You already know what time it is. It's May 1st, 2025, and you're now locked into the realest, rawest, most unapologetically dope show in the game, the Bro Code Podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Terry Lester, aka Mr. Say It Like It Is, coming at you straight from the heart of the city, where real talk meets real life. We're talking brotherhood, barbershop debates, the grind, the glow-up, and all the drama in between. If it's part of the culture, we're on it. So whether you're tuned in from the whip, the gym, or the crib, go ahead and turn us up. 'Cause this episode, it's about to hit different. We keep it smart, we keep it funny, and most of all, we keep it real. This ain't just a podcast, it's a movement, and you just became a part of it. So let's get into it, kings and queens. The mic is hot. The vibes are right in the code is sacred. The Minnesota Vikings completed the primary goal of their offseason last weekend during the NFL Draft. Build a personnel cocoon around quarterback J.J. McCarthy. Now they are on to the job of ensuring he can thrive in it. McCarthy emerged from the shadows this week, speaking to Minnesota reporters Tuesday for the first time in 235 days. After an offseason in which the team replaced 3 of its 5 starting offensive linemen and committed an NFL-high $315 million to its 2025 roster as part of a massive swing through free agency, McCarthy quipped, "I'm here for it. For someone who won the national championship with Michigan and was the No. 10 pick of the 2024 draft, McCarthy has been largely a mystery in Minnesota. He tore the meniscus in his right knee in the Vikings' preseason opener, 18 days after the first practice of training camp, and then transitioned into months of recovery that included a second surgery in November to address swelling. During that time, McCarthy attended meetings, met weekly with Coach Kevin O'Connell, and traveled with the team late in the season. But as a matter of course, injured players remain in the background until they are healthy. But as McCarthy ramped up his activity during the first 6 days of the team's offseason program, players have offered glimpses into what they have encountered behind the scenes. More than anything, they have described an energetic, edgy, and competitive personality from a quarterback who, at 22 years and 4 months, is younger than 11 of the 13 quarterbacks drafted last weekend. Veteran safety Harrison Smith, the longest tenured player on the roster as he enters his 14th season, spent time with McCarthy in Mexico during an NFL Players Association event. "He's a guy that I enjoy being around a lot," Smith said. "He's his own person and kind of speaks his mind, has his own way of thinking about things. He's very smart, very invested in football and winning and competing. I enjoy my time with him. He's an interesting fellow and a little smarter beyond his years." A one-day visit to the team facility in March, meanwhile, left new center Ryan Kelly with a distinct impression. "He's fiery," Kelly said. "He's got some stuff to him. He's got that energy that you want as a quarterback, and as a young guy who missed his entire rookie season. I think you need that edge where this guy wants to prove who he can be in this league. He wants to lead this team to an NFC North title. He wants to go to the NFC Championship game, the Super Bowl, and I think he also understands that there's a lot he hasn't seen and doesn't know." Kelly represents a significant portion of the cocoon the Vikings have built. He noted that he spent most of his career with the Indianapolis Colts, in charge of the run game, the pass game, and all the blitz lookups, on-field responsibilities he can carry over in Minnesota for a quarterback that we know has the fire and the passion to be great, but just might not be able to see everything right away. Kelly will be flanked at right guard by his former teammate in Indianapolis, Will Fries, who signed a 5-year contract worth $88 million in free agency. The left guard is likely to be Donovan Jackson, the Vikings' first-round draft pick last week. That means McCarthy will open his first season as an NFL starter behind an offensive line that will be paid a league-high $81.2 million this season, according to roster management system. It includes 3 former first-round picks, Kelly, Jackson, and left tackle Christian Darrisaw, and 1 second-round pick, right tackle Brian O'Neill. The Kansas City Chiefs have the NFL's second most expensive offensive line at $72 million. I think you got to take the mindset of trying to take as much of the things off of any new quarterback's plate. O'Neal said, "How do we as an offensive line play as cohesively as possible? I can't be worried about his fires if I'm not putting out my own fires. The best thing I can do for him is give him a clean pocket every single time." The Vikings line will be charged of protecting McCarthy better than it did 2024 with starter Sam Darnold, who took the league's ninth most sacks, 49. Just as important, however, the Vikings hope it will spark a more productive run game, especially in the red zone and goal-to-go situations, after its guards and centers last season all ranked in the bottom 10 in run block win rate last season, according to ESPN research. To further bolster the running game around McCarthy, the Vikings not only re-signed veteran Aaron Jones, $10 million in 2025, but also acquired veteran backup Jordan Mason for a 2026 sixth-round pick, signing him to a 2-year deal that will pay him $5.5 million. In all, the Vikings have $19.3 million in cash tied up in the running back position this season, third most in the NFL behind the San Francisco 49ers, $24.1 million, and the Philadelphia Eagles, $21.3 million. The Vikings have been a pass-first team since O'Connell arrived in 2022. Over that period, they have the NFL's fifth most dropbacks, 2,063, and the fifth fewest rushing attempts, 1,254. That's not a formula O'Connell appears willing to maintain with a first-year quarterback. It's exciting to draw routes up on a board and come up with new ideas. O'Connell said, "And that stuff's been great, and we've done a lot of really good things here. But time and time again, you continue to think about the ability to get that yard, the ability to go be physical in every game you play, regardless of the opponent. The ability to have a collection of 5 guys up front, playing as one with the type of skill sets and physical ability we have now, gives me really good feelings about what we can be, not only this year, but beyond." Drafting McCarthy in 2024, which came with up to 5 years of controlled contract costs on his rookie deal, gave the Vikings an opportunity to shift resources to other positions. They have applied their excess cash budget in salary cap space to create one of the NFL's most formidable lineups on both sides of the ball. Over the past 2 offseasons, they have signed 6 new defensive starters and re-signed 2 incumbents. Of their 22 starting positions, 18 are likely to be filled by a veteran who is on at least his second NFL contract. McCarthy is one of 4 on a rookie contract, a group that also includes Jackson, receiver Jordan Addison, and linebacker Ivan Pace Jr. "We don't need him to come in and be the Patrick Mahomes of the team right now," safety Josh Metella said. "He's still trying to figure things out. He still has to play his first game. He still has to get his that angst and stuff out. The last thing we want him to do is feel like he has to say the last word to the team before a game or say the final words every day. We have a veteran team for a reason, to welcome a guy like that, and so he can just focus on his day-to-day process." All the same, McCarthy understands that he'll be under enormous pressure as the months progress, from the public spotlight, if nothing else. "Personally," he said, "I think the more pressure the better for me, because that's something I thrive off of. They always say the cliche, that pressure is a privilege, but that's something that you sign up for when you play in the National Football League, especially at the quarterback position. And I feel like pressure, all it does is just bring out what's inside of you, and I feel pretty good about what's inside of me." Jalen Green acknowledged that he wasn't quite ready for the playoff stage. For Green, the Toyota Center lights felt brighter than ever for Game 1 against the Golden State Warriors, a foe that features a few future Hall of Famers with long track records of playoff success. This was a postseason debut for Green and several other young core players for the Houston Rockets, a franchise whose painful rebuilding process that started with the trade of James Harden is just beginning to pay major dividends. "The court looked huge," Green said a few nights later. "I couldn't really get a chance to settle in. My legs were a little shaky." The nerves were evident in 23-year-old Green's inefficient performance. He scored only 7 points on 3 of 15 shooting in Houston's 95-85 loss. That playoff opener reinforced a common perception around the league that the Rockets, the Western Conference's surprising, scrappy 2 seed, are still one major piece of the puzzle away from being a bona fide title contender. "They trip in," Green said after bouncing back with 38 points in Houston's Game 2 win, a display of the 2021 2 picks potential. "I'm going to go out and handle business at the end of the day." The ball is going to be in my hands in the fourth quarter, and we're going to make something happen. But this isn't how the series has played out as it shifts back to Houston with the Rockets on the brink of elimination. Green scored in single digits again in both of the losses in San Francisco and was a crunch-time spectator in Game 4, which went down the wire with Alperen Sengun missing a tough potential go-ahead shot over Draymond Green on an isolation in the final seconds. The question remains glaring. How can the Rockets get the elite offensive engine that all great teams need? The hope in Houston is that said player can indeed be homegrown. We are not in the business of predetermining ceilings for our players, General Manager Rafael Stone told ESPN. But Plan B would be to cash in some of the assets the Rockets patiently accumulated over the past 5 years to speed up the process via a blockbuster trade. Green is Houston's leading scorer and won a handful of bets, as Stone puts it, that the Rockets have on the board to grow into that all-NBA talent necessary to make a title run. Sengun, a skilled center, made his first All-Star appearance at age 22 this season. Amen Thompson, 22, the no, for picking the 2023 draft, has already established himself as a dominant defensive force and is just starting to scratch the surface of his offensive potential. Rockets decision-makers consider guard Reed Shepherd, the no, 3 pick who hasn't cracked a deep rotation on a consistent basis as a rookie, as perhaps the most gifted offensive talent on the roster. We're all on the same page as far as what we have in our organization and wanting to see it through and seeing what all these young guys could become. Rockets coach Ime Udoka told ESPN recently, when you have this many high draft picks, you want to see who becomes what. I understood when I came to take the job that we were going to try to develop these guys and see what we can get to. I think they've all shown growth and potential. And the next step is who can be that consistent leader for us? So to try to expedite the process by going out and getting one piece now is kind of doing a disservice to what we all talked about coming into it. That's our vision. And I think the playoffs this year will give us a good picture of that and put guys in different situations and high-pressure situations to see how they react to it. The evaluation of the initial playoff experience for the Rockets' rising young stars will be an important element of those internal discussions. A blockbuster trade would require the Rockets to give up some of that young talent. Although Houston has made it known to other front offices that Thompson is considered untouchable. There's no question in my mind that there are multiple guys on this roster now who can potentially be the best player on a championship team, given their age. Patrick Fertitta, 30-year-old son of team owner Tillman Fertitta and ownership's day-to-day presence in basketball operations, told ESPN late in the regular season. You don't see guys at this age be that person yet, but I have a lot of confidence that one of these guys, if not a few of them, can become that. With that being said, anytime a guy at that level becomes available, it would be remiss not to do your due diligence. The Rockets have constructed a team that reflects their hard-nosed coach's image. The additions of rugged veterans Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, as well as the development of Houston's young talent, positioned the Rockets to make a massive leap to respectability last season, followed by another jump to a 52-30 record this season. Udoka's Rockets win with toughness and physicality, ranking first in the league in rebounding rate and 5th in defensive rating, making up for a mediocre offense. But that style without a superstar has a ceiling. We know in the playoffs sometimes, it boils down to if you have an unguardable guy in the last 5 minutes that can close the game, VanVleet told ESPN. We got everything else. I don't think it's like some savior that's going to come here and save all our sins, but it's like, do you have a guy you could throw it to the last 5 minutes in a playoff series that can win you games when it matters the most? I think that if we had that, I think we would be considered more title favorites. Now, you still can have success in the playoffs, but it's just harder. The margin of error is smaller. VanVleet hasn't proved to be that player, but he's a tremendous leader who factors into the Rockets' future, whether the franchise picks up his $44.9 million team option for next season or signs him to a long-term deal. He also agrees with Udoka and the front office that there are potential superstars already on the roster. In fact, some of the league's best players are occasionally used as comparisons to the young talent on the Rockets roster inside the team's gleaming new practice facility. For instance, it has been noted that Green's career statistical production is fairly similar to Phoenix Suns superstar Devin Booker's first 4 seasons, although Booker had established himself as an elite scorer by this age, albeit on a bad team. The knocks on Green now are that he hasn't been consistent or efficient. But Booker is proof of the progress a volume-scoring shooting guard can make in those areas as he matures. I don't know if you can go get another two guard with the upside or the talent level. Van Vliet's set of Green. Anthony Edwards may be in Minnesota. I don't know. Does Book have more talent than Jalen? Or is he more skilled and more polished and more experienced and older? I don't know what Jalen will look like when he's 26, 27, 28 after playoff series. And that's the upside, where it's like potential can get a little intoxicating. He has the talent. There's no reason for him not to reach that level. He's got to go through it. He's got to fail. Sengun's stats at 22 resemble three-time MVP Nikola Jokic's at that age, although rival scouts and executives consider three-time All-Star Domantas Sabonis to be the more reasonable comparison among the league's high-scoring, savvy-passing big men. His highlights and his flash, everything is loud. Van Vliet said of Sengun, his mistakes are loud and his success is loud. Once he gets more where he's hitting the singles on a daily basis, I think that his potential and his level will continue to grow. Rockets front office staffers rhetorically wonder whether 6'7" Thompson, whose jumper is very much a work in progress, could do many of the same things Russell Westbrook did in his prime. The Rockets haven't often given Thompson the keys to the offense to run as a point guard yet, but they certainly haven't ruled that out in the future. Udoka displayed that kind of belief in Thompson when he called his number with the game on the line in the final seconds of the Rockets' January 27 road game against the defending champion Boston Celtics. Thompson attacked all-star wing Jaylen Brown in isolation, creating a few feet of space in the paint for a winning floater to cap a 33-point performance. He's already become a really good NBA player. Stone said, he should be much, much better than this year next year, and that should go on for the foreseeable future. Great kid, works really hard, is really smart. Everything we've asked him to do, he's done. He's done it quickly and at times shockingly easily. Shepard is occasionally mentioned in the same breath as Hall of Fame point guard Steve Nash, another small guard who played sparingly as a rookie. At 6'2", 185 pounds, Shepard faces a steep learning curve to adjust to the NBA, especially on a competitive team, but the Rockets remain bullish on his potential to develop into a star. I think Reed's just a really, really talented player. Stone said, very few people shoot as well as him. Very few people pass as well as him. And more even than pass, see the offense so clearly and so easily. That's not really a skill that is taught, not at the level he can do it. We think that he has a chance to be really special. Once Houston's season ends, the team brass will have a better feel for just how close the Rockets are being serious contenders. That will factor into front office's off-season decisions. But the Rockets will be reluctant to make any moves that will shorten the franchise's potential runway to compete for championships. This league and this business is a very emotional one. Patrick Fertitta said, there's a thrill of victory in the agony of defeat, and it's important that you don't make wholesale changes, or even changes on the margins based on emotion. The Rockets brass, Stone, Udoka, and Patrick Fertitta, are aligned in the ambition to allow this young group to grow together. Nevertheless, it is anticipated that there will be internal discussions at a minimum this summer regarding potential star pursuits in the trade market. Does Kevin Durant make sense for the Rockets entering his age 37 season, considering the cost of trading for him and extending his contract? How aggressively would Houston go after 30-year-old Giannis Antetokounmpo if he finally asked for a trade out of Milwaukee? How about younger stars who would better fit Houston's timeline? Is Zion Williamson's immense potential worth the risks? Maybe Ja Morant if he ends up as a trade possibility? It's a very high bar to do a transaction that changes things, Stone told ESPN, emphasizing the optimism that the improvement of the young players already on the roster can fuel the Rockets' continued ascension. Patrick Fertitta was a high-ranking Rockets executive who declared to ESPN that the organization was comfortable being uncomfortable after Harden, the longtime face of the franchise, demanded a trade during the 2020 offseason. The quote was uttered under the cloak of anonymity at the time, but Fertitta is proud of it. Those three words represent the patience the Rockets have operated under for the past 5 years. Houston's brass made a determination to prioritize a historic haul of first-round picks from the Brooklyn Nets over the Philadelphia 76ers, offer built around an all-star guard Ben Simmons, a decision that was criticized at the time but has aged extremely well. Patrick Fertitta and Stone had convinced Tillman Fertitta, a billionaire who bought the franchise when the Rockets ranked among the NBA's elite teams, that intentionally bottoming out was Houston's most realistic path back to being a contender. They also had to talk Tillman into sticking with the plan at times during the ensuing 3 seasons, when Houston won a combined total of only 59 games. Almost 5 years later, the Rockets roster is stacked with direct and indirect rewards from a hardened deal. Green, Jabari Smith Jr., and Thompson were added with high lottery picks as a result of the Rockets' terrible records over that 3-year span. Tari Eason, like Smith, a valued, defense-minded role player, and Shepard had been selected with the picks from Brooklyn. In a separate deal last summer, Houston gave Brooklyn back control of the Nets' first-round pick in the next 2 drafts in return for another pick haul. As a result, the Rockets own the Suns' 2025, 2027, and 2029 picks, as well as the Dallas Mavericks' 2029 first-rounder. Houston also held on to first-round swap rights from the Nets in 2027. Those are the assets that would allow the Rockets to engage in any superstar trade discussions this summer, if that's a path the team opts to take. That's far from a certainty, regardless of Houston's playoff results. Even though it can be exciting to feel like you are as close as you may be, it's important to move with the same level of patience that got us to where we are, and to make sure that we're always making decisions based on not just today, but the future, Patrick Fertitta said. Because we never want to value the near term over the long term. If the right opportunity presents itself where we feel like we can get materially better, we're always going to do the work to know if it's the right thing to do. But in a perfect world, we'd love to see this group grow up together as they already have and become contenders in this league. And if everybody can get better individually and collectively, we think that this group that we have today has the ability to compete in May and June, and hopefully sooner than later. You might have heard about or seen clips of Dalton Varshaw's incredible catch Tuesday night. I've watched it about a dozen times and still don't know how he did it. Playing his first game of the season for the Toronto Blue Jays, the 2024 Gold Glove winner was in center field when Boston Red Sox left fielder Jarren Duran drove a pitch from Dylan Tate to deep center. Varsho isn't the fastest center fielder in the league, but no outfielder gets better jumps and reads than him, and he leads all outfielders since 2022 in the out-above average metric via StatCast. Varsho reacted quickly and drifted back, but then stumbled and fell on the warning track. He rolled over once, popped up onto one knee, and with his back facing home plate, he reached out his outstretched glove and made the backhanded catch. It was a crossroads of enormous skill and luck, but one thing is certain. There's never been a catch like it, at least not one that exists on video. "Oh my goodness, did he just do that?" exclaimed Red Sox broadcaster Dave O'Brien. A circus catch if you've ever seen one. Blue Jays announcer Dan Schulman was equally amazed. "Did he catch that ball?" "Yes, he caught that ball." Varsho smiled sheepishly after getting back up on his feet. Tate raised both arms and then tipped his cap. "When I fell, I was like, oh boy, it's going to be somewhat near me," Varsho said. "I saw it kind of really quick and kind of stuck my glove out." Boston's Alex Bregman called it one of the greatest catches he had ever seen. Well, is it the greatest catch ever? Let's compare it to some of the greatest outfield plays of all time. 1 month into the Major League Baseball season, the favorites are playing as expected for the most part. The Stars are off to great starts, more or less, and the game looks as it should, except for the 2 minor league parks. April offers a window into the next 5 months, though it's still slightly opaque. A tease for what's ahead. Will there be another historic Aaron Judge season? A team breaking the record for futility just 1 year after a single-season record for losses was established? A new standard for on-field larceny? All of that and so much more are possible, according to a wide swath of players, coaches, executives, evaluators, and analysts ESPN surveyed to understand what in April was real and what was more early-season mirage. We'll begin with one thing that is clear enough to say definitively, and while it might not mean anything come October, for May, June, July, August, and September, it's bound to prove true. The National League is vastly superior to the American League. This disparity was anticipated, yes, but the degree to which the senior circuit dwarfs the junior circuit in almost every way, from record to run differential to preeminence of the best teams, only reinforces a chasm between the leagues. Currently, the NL is 224 to 218 with a plus 69 run differential. And that's despite the 4 to 25 Colorado Rockies and their minus 78 run differential. The combined OPS of NL hitters is 25 points higher than that of AL hitters. They walk more and strike out less, score way more and steal copious bases comparatively, and hit more home runs. In interleague games, NL pitchers have an ERA that is more than a third of a run lower than that of their AL counterparts. There is an argument to be made that 7 NL teams are better than the AL's best team, either the New York Yankees or Detroit Tigers, who have separated themselves by the end of April. And that doesn't even include the Cincinnati Reds, who have a 5-game winning streak and the 4th best run differential in MLB, aided by a 24-2 win against Baltimore. Fellas, ladies, and everybody reppin' the culture. That's a wrap on another fire episode of the Bro Code Podcast. It's your boy Terry Lester. Hold it down like I always do. And you already know, we kept it real, we kept it raw, and we definitely kept it under the code. Big shout out to everybody tapping in from the block to the boardroom. Whether you're on the grind, chilling in traffic, or just vibing the crib, you're part of the movement now. We're not just talking about it, we're living it, building a tribe where the convo stays elevated and the mindset stays sharp. Remember, the code ain't just a name, it's a way of life. Loyalty, hustle, respect. Keep that energy with you wherever you go. And if you felt the gems we dropped today, don't be stingy. Like, share, subscribe, and put your crew onto the wave. Until next time, stay real, stay focused, and most importantly, stay loyal to the code.
It's that time again. Main Man T. Back for the Bro Code Podcast. Produced by Kennedy Lucas.